Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another match review. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And where do we start with that one? Chelsea thrashed 4-1 by Brendan Rodgers' Celtic side in Indiana last night. And yeah, we were hoping for some sort of improvement on the performance, another step in the right direction from the opening draw against Wrexham. And despite starting brightly, we could have taken the lead through Chukwuemeka inside the first minute. Yeah, things didn't really get too much better from then, other than sort of a 5-minute spell after the drinks break in the second half where we looked reasonably threatening. Yeah, it was a poor performance. Yes, you can say it's the second game of pre-season. I understand that. But even by the standards of pre-season, that was really, really bad. I mean, Enzo Maresca made 2 changes to the team that played against Wrexham, with Wesley Fofana coming in to replace Tosin and Mykhailo Mudryk getting his first taste of action, replacing Tyreek George in the lineup. But I mean, look, there are a number of things to be concerned about. A number of things. I think, you know, we deserved to lose that game. It's as simple as that. You know, no one's complaining about the result whatsoever. No one's complaining about that at all. But it's the manner and some of the things that, you know, we notice. You know, we were horrific defensively. You know, the players were being lazy. We were playing a ridiculously high line. The speed that we were moving the ball from our on the ball setup to our out of possession setup is so bad. Particularly in that first half. You know, how wide the centre-backs was ridiculous. You know, Fofana and Colwell may as well have been playing as fullbacks. It doesn't suit them stylistically. And then it means that Lavia's having to drop deeper into that centre-back role. And then that loses us a man further up the pitch. And then there's no angle to play to to play into the pockets. You know, we were all over the place. You know, how easy was it for Celtic on a number of occasions, multiple occasions in that first half, one ball over the top, and they were in behind, and they had better decision making in front of goal. And if Sanchez hadn't made a few decent saves, we easily could have shipped 6, 7, or 8 goals in that game. And that's not an exaggeration, whatsoever. You know, Fofana, I get it, it's his first start in over a year, and we have to cut the players a little bit of slack. If you're going to cut the manager slack saying, oh, it's just his second game, then you have to also, it's incredibly hypocritical to then not cut the players slack for it being a second game as well. Fofana wasn't following his man. Obviously, his first start in over a year, you could understand there were going to be difficulties there. But yeah, the issues were glaring, and they were so obvious. You know, our defending was horrendous, you know. And that first half particularly was really, really bad. We had a couple of nice attacking moves, but you would expect that, you know, with the attacking quality we have on the pitch. You know, I'd love to be able to speak to Enzo Maresca and ask him about the high line, because I do not understand why we deployed the high line. I didn't understand the structure that we had off the ball. And there's clearly a lot of things that need working. But I think, look, it's not the time to go overboard on criticism. Absolutely, in isolation, this is crap shit and fully deserves to be criticised. But to expect a new manager to come in and to have implemented a new style within 2 games is asking too much, in my opinion, and is totally unrealistic. But on the flip side, there were some alarming things that, you know, need to be addressed as quickly as possible. I don't think any of us have got an issue with losing if we play in the right way. But you need to understand the difference, because so far all we've seen is us get torn apart, you know, and none of this inverted fullbacks and this possession-based style of football that gets forced down us every day. You know, it's almost as if maybe Maresca isn't as well suited to this squad as so many people made out. Oh, he's perfect. He's tailor-made for this squad. Well, maybe he actually isn't. And there's going to be a lot of work to do. And maybe he doesn't know as much about these players as he claimed that he knew about them. Maybe, just maybe, those 2 points are very much valid. Look, the second half was better. I think in times it was a little bit better, but again, it was a it was another demonstration of what's arguably, in my opinion, been the biggest issue for Chelsea over the last 2 or 3 seasons. And that is consistency and concentration in key moments, both massively lacking. You know, I know Celtic were obviously their 5th game. Their domestic season starts next weekend. So they're much sharper, much further along in the process. But you notice, for a couple of their goals, it was a simple square pass for a tap in, and that's fine. They score. Whereas, I think Raheem Sterling, who actually, in fairness, done pretty well when he come on, that same sort of cross, he overcooks it. And those kind of fine margins are what decide matches. What's happened to Badia Shield, by the way? He just looks completely and utterly lost. Completely and utterly lost. I'm not sure. I don't know what's happened to him. I do not know what has happened to him. Sanchez, of course, didn't help him out with that, and he was playing him into no man's land. Then it was a brain dead decision to go back across your own goal. And the 4th goal that we conceded was also a complete and utter mess. And Sanchez just made it way too easy for Johnson to just put the ball in the back of the net. But we'd actually, strangely enough, played okay from that little half times drinks break. And then you had that 5-minute spell where we just fell apart and went to shit again. And it's the same as last year. But ultimately, guys, the results in pre-season are irrelevant. They are irrelevant because last season we were all gassing up the pre-season under Poch, and we went and won 3 of our first 10 Premier League matches. This pre-season, we're yet to win a game. We're yet to get into our stride. But the most important thing is getting that tactical understanding, getting those minutes under the belt, and improving that match sharpness. Those are the most important things. Now, I'm not naive enough to just turn the blind eye and just discard everything. Oh, it's just pre-season, it doesn't matter. No, because it absolutely does matter. And there are things that need to be addressed as quickly as possible. And improvements I expect to see in the next game with those things addressed, or at least partially addressed. But in terms of positives, I thought Nkunku again looked sharp. And again, you get a lot more out of him the closer he is to the box. He got his 2nd goal in 2 pre-season games. That's good for him. He stepped up and converted the spot kick towards the end for the consolation goal well. And yeah, he's going to be a massive player. We all know he's going to be a huge player for us, but get him closer to the box and he is going to be more dangerous. That's exactly where you want him. I'll be real. The most impressive player for me was Mark Guus, the 18-year-old. He was impressive again. He looks good against Wrexham, but I was understandably a little bit cautious because you're like, well, a guy that's played for Barcelona, come through the famous La Masia Academy, you'd expect him to be half decent against Wrexham, wouldn't you? But he looked good. He was a handful. He was unlucky not to score. His finishing needs work, but that's to be expected. He pressed well. His movement off the ball was good. His hold-up play was actually quite decent. He did well, and I was impressed by him. And Enzo Maresca saying after the game that as things stand, he won't be going anywhere, and he's going to be part of the first team squad going forward. If he continues to impress and does well and show that he's got a bit about him, I think he's definitely got that physicality to play in the Premier League, then Guus could end up saving Chelsea millions of pounds if we don't have to dip back into the transfer market. But those were really the only 2 positives, other than just getting more minutes into the legs. But I mean, back to the negatives. The defensive line was, wow, fuck me. That defending was atrocious. It was almost like we were watching Ange Postecoglou's Spurs. We were so high. I mean, defensive line higher than Maresca's hairline. I don't think we've seen the first choice backline yet. I don't really know what the first choice backline is, but I don't think we've seen it. There were poor decisions in the final third as well. We got caught out far too easily in midfield, which led to us getting caught on transitions. Lavia did look a little bit rusty. Caicedo definitely helps with getting caught out in transitions. And it's important to also point out, guys, that we are missing a number of key players as well. No Cole Palmer, no Marc Cucurella, no Enzo Fernandez, no Moises Caicedo, no Cole Palmer. That's 4 or 5 players that are going to go into that first team and that will make a massive improvement. But there's no point talking about the guys that aren't here, because we need to talk about what is here And what we've seen, and I tell you what, I cannot wait for Jorgensen to arrive, because Sanchez, yeah, he made a few decent saves. For the life of me, I promise you guys, this guy is never going to be good enough with the ball to play the way that Enzo Maresca wants to play. Poor decision making. So many times just booted it out long, and a couple of times just come out kamikaze runs from his own box. The guy just isn't good enough. It's as simple as that. He is not good enough, and I suspect that Philip Jorgensen could even start. Maybe he won't start the season as a number one, but he will displace Sanchez pretty quickly. I think that much is clear. But look, it was really bad. Let's make no mistakes about it, guys. It was awful. It was shit. Let's just say it how it is. But let's be, but it's pre-season and there's not much to grasp at here. I didn't like what Maresca was doing in the first half. The second half, we got a bit more control of it. And then we were let down by certain players who were just being sloppy as fuck. But we just move on to the next one, Look, am I concerned? Yes, I am slightly concerned. But am I also realising that, this is the second game of pre-season and things are going to take time? And, pre-seasons for experimenting, pre-seasons, if you lose in pre-season, you'd rather lose then and get things wrong then than at the start of the season. Maresca himself, good after the game, saying, that we need to improve on a lot of things off the ball. He's saying that, one of the bad things that the side did was, when the ball was not under pressure, we didn't maintain the high line, and then when the ball is under pressure, you need to drop. And we didn't do that. I think the players are still a bit confused about what's being asked of them. They still don't quite know, what to expect. And that's understandable, because they're learning a new system and a totally different way of playing that isn't really just Pochettino's vibesing ball, which is kind of very much how you felt on the day. But yeah, ultimately, I think a big disappointment for sure. No doubt about it. And I'm expecting serious improvements for the next game against Club America. To me, it seems like, we're not having enough time on the training pitch to get the players fit and to get them tactical instructions. And it's almost like, guys, well, flying across fucking America every 2 days, changing hotels is not really helping us out, is it? And that's the exact reason why these pre-season tours are fucking useless for a new manager. 2 games, neither of them have sold out. And yeah, it just isn't helpful whatsoever. Isn't helpful at all. And look, of course, we could come back in a few months' time and look back on this defeat to Celtic in the pre-season and think, oh, fucking hell, what were we so worried about? But, there's a lot that needs to be done before, and a lot of evidence that needs to be provided before we can get anywhere near to that conclusion. A lot of convincing needs to be done. And it's not even entirely on Maresca either. The amount of players that we have that shouldn't be at the football club is a disgrace. And the ownership needs to get a move on with shipping some of this dead wood out. Look, as I mentioned earlier, don't be a hypocrite and give it the second game excuse for Maresca, but then, don't allow it for the likes of, your Chukwuemeka's, your Fofanas, Madueke's, etc., who I've been seeing getting pelters online. Look, I'm more than happy to discuss, to sort of sweep games under the carpet, because in general, these games are pretty meaningless. But if you're going to make excuses, you have to have the same excuses for the players as you have for the manager. Otherwise, you look like just a complete and utter hypocrite. And you can't be moaning at anyone if you are criticizing players, but you're then giving it the second game excuse for the manager. That doesn't wash. And then you've got the same people who were just entirely blaming the manager last season. Make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense, honestly. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Celtic game. A horror show from Chelsea, a disaster. Lots of work to be done. Expecting big improvements against Club America, particularly off the ball. The structure needs to be better. Hopefully, we've got some time to try and implement that and fix it. And let's hope for a better display if let's hope for a better result, but most importantly, let's hope for a better display, and hopefully we can show some sort of resemblance of a team, because right now we're just looking like a bunch of lost individuals. But anyway, guys, that's my thoughts on the 4-1 defeat to Celtic. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Up the Chelsea, and peace out, guys.